They come here because it's easier to get in, and then we're letting in people who should be in jail too.
There was an ISIS terrorist who was caught before getting his Canadian citizenship. What does that tell you about our immigration system? Would you say there's gaps?
We are taking in more than we can handle, and we are not built for all of these people. We are not built, we don't have the systems in place that we need to.
When people come to Canada, you don't want to just bring them in and then just leave them as is.
Yeah.
You want to have programs for them to become educated on finances and housing and jobs and social programs, right?
I would rather live in the States right now with Trump as leader. At least he's doing stuff. I might not agree with everything he's doing, but at least he's doing something, whereas our leader goes hides and says.
But do you think that it's right that the migrants are getting houses, they're being provided with housing and shelters, while homelessness of Canada aren't really getting that support?
Hell, do I have to take a flight to Ukraine and pretend I'm a Ukrainian and come over here to get that kind of treatment? My parents are immigrants. They did everything the right way with no handouts. Yeah. Nobody gave them shit.
We need people who are qualified. We don't have the infrastructure, the medical system. It's straining. We're not.
Canadians are kind of feeling the pinch because we're not as protected as maybe immigrants. I don't think that deportation is necessary.
With Donald Trump being the president now, do you think that a lot of illegal immigrants are going to try to flee deportation from Donald Trump and run over to Canada?
Oh, 100%.
Tom Homan said President Trump will push Prime Minister Trudeau to tighten up our shared border, calling it an extreme national security vulnerability.
Tom Homan has been tapped by Donald Trump to carry out the largest mass deportation in U.S. history. Canada is also a concern. Last September, a Pakistani citizen was arrested in Quebec, allegedly about to cross the border.
We take the border very seriously.
Canada has not taken border security seriously for a little over a decade.
Canada is seeing a large number of people coming into the country. This increase in migrants is creating challenges for local communities and services. Canada has long been celebrated as one of the best countries in the world, known for its stunning natural landscape, progressive social policy, and high quality of life. However, over the past decades, various challenges have emerged that have altered this perception, promoting discussions about Canada's standing on the global stage. Historical, Canada earned its reputation through universal health care, strong education system, and a commitment to multiculturalism. In recent years, Canada has welcomed many newcomers due to problems like wars, economy struggles, and climate change. Many of these individuals are arriving through unofficial border crossing. Major cities like Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver are feeling the biggest impact, with shelters getting full and support services struggling to keep up. The growing number of people is making it harder to find affordable housing. Rents are rising, which worries many long-time residents. People are concerned that they might have to leave their neighborhoods because they can't afford living there anymore. More newcomers are also putting a strain on Canada's healthcare system. With so many people needing medical care, it's taking longer to get appointments, and doctors and nurses are becoming overwhelmed. This raises worries about whether everyone can get the quality care they need. As more people arrive, finding jobs has become tougher. Many newcomers are looking for work in areas like restaurants and construction, which means there's more competition for everyone. Some Canadians are finding it takes longer to get jobs, and they worry about lower wages since employers have many candidates to choose from. As Canada deals with this migrant crisis, communities are feeling the effects in many ways. Local organizations are working harder to support both newcomers and residents as they adapt to these changes. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm in the streets and I'm asking people, what's your take with the way things are going on in this country?
It's gotten a lot worse in the last few years. Homeless rates are crazy. You see tents everywhere, which you did not see growing up, which is crazy. And prices have just absolutely skyrocketed. So it's not great. I feel like it's getting a lot worse in the last few years.
What do you think has caused for the homeless crisis, to rise in this country?
The cost of living is absolutely insane. Rent prices, absolutely insane. Grocery prices, absolutely insane. I used to work at a grocery store, and I always would tell people, we had this sign at the front of the store, and it had the prices of eggs. And I worked there for 6 years, and seeing the price of actually milk is the one that I but seeing the price of milk go from $3.97 to $6 for a bag, absolutely crazy. Prices are just nuts.
Oh wow. Would you say that anyone can end up being in the streets today?
Yeah, I think that we blame a lot of homelessness on drugs and stuff, but honestly, if you've ever had to move back in with your family or couch surf or stay with your friends while you were in between houses, that could have been you. Like those people that are homeless, like they just don't have anyone that would like let them sleep on their couch. Like they don't always, like it's not always like because they're into drugs, you know?
They have no jobs, a lot of them don't have housing, are addicted to drugs like fentanyl, crystal meth, cocaine, alcohol addiction. It's just terrible. And our government just runs away and hides. Like Trudeau is not a leader.
Okay.
And it's really sad, And I rather live in the States right now with Trump as leader. At least he's doing stuff. I might not agree with everything he's doing, but at least he's doing something. Whereas our leader goes hides and says, I'll go and hide, and that's it. And it's really sad. And I just hope we have an election soon federally, but I doubt it because they're probably going to get Mark Carney to win. And then when Mark Carney wins, he's going to sabotage it so there is no election for the next 5 years.
Oh, wow. You think so?
I think so.
Hey, let's say if you could vote today, if you don't mind me asking, like, who would you vote for? If you want to see a change in this country.
It's tough. I would probably vote for Maxime Bernier.
Okay, Maxime Bernier? Yeah, PPC. Why Maxime Bernier? What are some policies that you like about Maxime Bernier?
I like that he stood up when the truckers tried to protest, and he stood up for them. He went to jail for them too. Okay. So he's against all the lockdown stuff. He's, and I love that. Yeah.
Do you think that Maxime Bernier would be a good leader for this country?
I think you would.
Okay, you would? If you don't mind me asking, what do you think about the economic growth?
When people come to Canada, you don't want to just bring them in and then just leave them as is.
Yeah.
You want to have programs for them to become educated on finances and housing and jobs and social programs, right? And really try and feel integrated and welcomed into the country. So was there maybe like too many too fast? Maybe, but definitely where people say like, focus on their own. I don't really see that because like, once again, Canada's kind of built on immigration, right? I mean, I'm from Irish descent, so if back in the 1800s, if Canada wasn't so welcoming, where would my family line and, be, right? It doesn't make sense trying to close that sense off. That's what Canada's built on.
And do you think that the migrant play a huge part with the way things have turned in this country?
I mean, from a basic economic standpoint, it's a whole supply and demand. If you have X amount of houses and you bring in a whole bunch of migrants, there's not going to be enough, right? And it causes a crisis. And I'm sure like when you talk to some people, they might get passionate about it. And that's some recency bias, right? How they're going to say like, they're taking our jobs, they're taking our houses. And like, it's just the recent frustrations. But I mean, like the way that I kind of see it is that like when you have everything kind of play all in a factor, it's just like that lack of foundation where we don't have those programs to set people up, right? So with the upcoming election and the politicians, it would be nice to see a plan so then they can actually like form a change, right? Not just disallow immigration or not just build more housing, because then once again, a house, what happens, right? They may not have the financial understanding or just the different culture to really thrive into, this different culture, right? So I think that would be the biggest thing, is that it's not so much like one thing needs to happen in terms of immigration or housing. It's like we need to establish some foundation if this is going to continue.
And stuff like that.
It's terrible right now. The prices in the grocery store are incredibly insane. I went to the grocery store yesterday to Metro. I got like 8 items and it was like nearly $100. I'm like, that sucks. Someone who's on OW or disability, they can't afford $100. They have to eat crap food then, and it sucks. They can't eat healthy, and then the doctors say, "Oh, you're unhealthy. You got to eat healthy." I can't afford to eat healthy. I can afford to buy Kraft dinner, which is really gross.
Well, no, it's terrible right now. It's terrible. The country is the country's in decline. We don't have the resources for the medical care system, for the hospitals. We can't support, we're unfettered immigration, and we don't have the infrastructure to support the people. And it's terrible what the government is doing, I think. So, and it's no surprise that so many people you find a lot of feedback, negative feedback against Trudeau for his, they're blaming him, and I don't know what he's doing, and it's very poor governance of this country, and people are just so fed up with it. So I can't blame them, and we need immigration, but we need we need people who are qualified. And so we need young people who are professionals who have qualifications. We don't need older people that come in, or family reunification. We don't have the infrastructure, the medical system. It's straining. We're not. We don't have the money. So Trudeau is not supporting the healthcare acts. Says that government is supposed to be contributing something like 40% or whatever it is, and he's only contributing 20%. We just don't have the infrastructure. So we need good qualified people who have the qualifications, who are going to help our economy. Absolutely. And everybody, I'm sure 99.9% of the people would agree with that. But we don't need limousine drivers at the airport. We don't need the older family to babysit. We've got lots of people that can do that. So and people who are going to contribute to the economy for the long term, because and we need that, because we don't have we're not having a population growth, you see. So absolutely. So and then there's just too many people that just come here, and they're just allowed in, and they'll never, their their immigration process or the refugee status hearings, they're going to take years and years and years, and nobody has any confidence that they're going to be adjudicated properly. So in the meantime, they get everything paid for, and but it's sad. A lot of them end up, they're homeless because we just can't support them. We don't have the housing, and I don't know what's going to happen, because during the wintertime it gets pretty cold here, and you hate to see people who who don't have a roof over their head and don't have warmth.
With everything you've seen change in Canada, whether it be for the good or bad, in your own opinion, do you still believe that Canada still holds its value of the Canadian dream?
No, I don't think so anymore.
You don't think so?
Not at this moment with the Liberals in charge.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. If I had to challenge you though, if the Canadian dream is dead, why do you think there's more people moving into the country than leaving?
Well, I noticed a lot of immigrants that come here. They come here for a few months, and then they realize this is actually not a great place, and they want to move, but they don't know where to move to after this, because where their country is, it's under war, and it's just they can't go back there. So where else are they going to really go? The states won't let them in, and so they come here because it's easier to get in. It's harder to get into places like England and the U.S., or Argentina, which is a more freer country. So it's really hard, and then we're letting in people who should be in jail too, and we're not caring.
But what do you think has caused, for our immigration system to fall down in this country?
No, it'd have to be the Liberals. Trudeau, he said, I'm going to let this many in, and he just did it. He didn't care what other people thought. He never really thought about the people. He just thought his agenda, this is the agenda, and this is what I'm going to do.
Speaking about, immigration, I don't know if you've been paying attention to what's been going on in the States, but I'm pretty sure you've been hearing about it with mass deportation. So my question for you is, with Donald Trump being the president now, do you think that a lot of illegal immigrants are going to try to flee deportation from Donald Trump and run over to Canada?
Oh, 100%, for sure. And we're probably going to say, yay, come on in, like we've always done. And that's why Trump was putting the tariffs on us, because we're doing that. We're letting criminals in and not blocking them from coming in. And all Trump wants us to do is do it right. Let them in the proper channels. Don't let the criminals in. Make sure you check their background and make sure they're not carrying drugs, weapons into your country. And I don't know the exact stats, but I know Trump said at one point that 25% of the fentanyl, it comes from Canada, that it's coming into North America.
There was an ISIS terrorist who was caught before getting his Canadian citizenship. What does that tell you about our immigration system? Would you say there's gaps?
There's gaps in every system, and the fact that he was caught means that they are doing something right. But to be honest with you, I am more fearful of a white straight man than I am of any immigrant that's coming over. That is not walking around the streets of Hamilton by myself. My fear is never going to be an immigrant.
By any chance, do you think that our government is going to be able to reinforce the borders and prepare with illegal immigrants trying to flee into this country from, fleeing from Donald Trump?
Probably not at all.
So
No, because if it's the Liberals still in charge, if another party gets in, maybe. But if the Liberals are still in charge, I don't think so, because they haven't done it yet. And then we have someone like Doug Ford who's trying to threaten Trump. Like, that's not going to work. I'm sorry. The U.S. has the biggest army in the world, and they're going to do what they need to do to make their country their country. They don't care what Doug Ford has to say. Trump probably laughs about it, you know?
what's something that you want to see change in this country? And hypothetically speaking, if you could change something about this country, what would you change?
The leadership.
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 Would you say that equality is still a thing in this country?
A little bit. It's changed. It's not like it used to be. And I would like to see the homeless helped, which our city is really not doing. Yeah, they're building 80 tiny homes, but that's only for select people.
Okay.
And it's not for everybody, so they're still homeless, you know, and we have more homeless than we've ever had before the in our history of Canada. If you go to Vancouver, it's rated, I think, first or second for most homelessness in North America, behind California.
Yep. Do you think that's right that these migrants are getting houses and shelters being provided for them while Canada's homelessness aren't really getting that support?
My tax money should go to Canadians. I know I go around Ontario. You go to Gravenhurst, for example. Gravenhurst was one of the poorest towns in Ontario. And here you've got Canadians, and they're not well. You see them, with the electric, scooters.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of poor people in Gravenhurst, and they're Canadians, and our government is not supporting them. And yet, they've got all this money. These refugees come in, they put them up in Niagara Falls and the hotels down there. I know I've got friends who have businesses down there, and we pay all this money to put the refugees. Money should go towards Canadians. Should have priorities first.
I don't think we should be allowing more immigrants into our country until we can help our people here in our own country. We can't even help our own Indigenous people. We let them squalor in dirt and crap. We need to work with our people first, then say, okay, now you can come in.
Okay.
If we can't help our own, why are we letting more people come in? That's going to make the problems this much taller, longer. Yeah.
I see. Would you say that there's still hope in Canada?
Not if the Liberals run it, no. If the Liberals stay in charge, no, there's no hope. But if Pierre or Mac Shea got in, yeah, they do a great job. I wish the leader of Alberta would run for Prime Minister. She'd be probably the best.
What do you think about Danielle Smith?
I like her.
You like her?
Yeah, she's actually going and talking to Trump and trying to work the things out so tariffs don't happen. She's actually going down there saying, what can we do? What do we need to do so you'll take our goods into your country? What do we need to do to protect our country so you guys won't be pissed off at us anymore? And also the leader of Saskatchewan is doing that, and now the leader of Quebec is doing that, going down and actually talking to Trump and trying to make a difference of some sort, instead of saying, oh, we're going to fight you, like Doug Ford saying, we're going to turn off your power. And Trump's just laughing. We have enough power in the U.S. to run it without you. So goodbye.
Yeah. Would you say that the Liberals are more focused on staying in power and instead of helping other country?
They're focused on their own agenda. They're focused on the World Economic Forum's agenda, and they want to get that implemented into our country. If you look at 3 of the candidates that are running for the leadership, they're all part of the World Economic Forum, and they're all wanting to do what Schwab wants them to do, and that's scary.
We can't help everyone, and I understand we want to help Syrian refugees. We want to help those things, but also I feel like we're very unsupported right now. When I was unemployed, it's impossible to find a job, and it's just hard to I feel like everyone is suffering, and I know that I think part of it is because of immigration, but it's also hard to say I don't want to blame the immigrants. It's really the government and the system that we are taking in more than we can handle. And we are not built for all of these people. We are not built, we don't have the systems in place that we need to. So it's not the immigrants' fault, but it's the government's fault for taking more than we can take, chewing off more than we can handle kind of thing.
The issue lies more with what was happening with our government. And I think I don't think there's ever bad intention. I think that it just got out of control. And Canadians are kind of feeling the pinch because we're not as protected as maybe immigrants are, or I'm not even sure if that's true, but it's what some people believe, I think. But again, I believe that there's always like a middle ground for it. I don't think that deportation is necessary. But also I don't know what the answer would be so that everybody's happy, right? I think that sometimes, unfortunately, there's like this unjust of maybe immigrants don't look as though they're being held to the same standard as like all Canadians are. And that can be a hot topic, right?
Would you say that Canadians are being placed behind in this country?
We're not in a great place financially, right? And people have come for Trudeau specifically because of this. I don't choose to focus on what I am not being given by my government. So if any type of refugee is given, any type of subsidies or checks or whatever it is to start their lives, I'm not upset that I don't have that. I think that I should, I just focus on being thankful for the things that I do have and the opportunities that I have. Because although maybe I'm not being handed a check to start my life, I am not worried about having a roof over my head, food on the table, or a job, right? So, I mean, you win some, you lose some. And I think that because I'm in a position where that doesn't affect me, I'm very privileged for that. And I do respect that there are some Canadians that are not in my situation, and why that can be really frustrating that they are not be given kind of the same opportunities as maybe some of these refugees are. And that's respectable. And again, I don't know what the answer is for that, but I also don't think that we should be taking from them to give to Canadians. I think there has to be a way where both are equally taken care of and respected, right? And I think there's always room for that. It's just about kind of coming to the table and finding how that happens, right?
What would you say are Canada's biggest problem right now?
Money, man. No one has money. There's not enough jobs, too many people that want jobs. It's honestly what it is, bro. You go to McDonald's and some Hordens that used to beg for workers and laborers, now they're full. So there's nowhere to get a job. All these young guys, even honestly the older guys that are working part-time jobs, full-time jobs, they can't even get jobs, right? For guys that don't have their own thing going on, as cutting hair, construction, it's hard because you're gonna have to go apply at a lot of places, like you said, and there's no one that's hiring right now, bro. It's that's why you see a lot of these new guys starting their own business, or they're hopping on social media and all of that, because they realize that if I go and start a part-time job, it's either I'm not making enough, because taxes are crazy too, bro. When you're working on those jobs, half your money gets cut. Yeah. And then it's also, they can't even get the job in the first place, so it's hard, bro. I also think a lot of these young guys don't like working either. I'll be honest.
They don't like working?
Yeah. I don't know if it's the way Canada's being run right now, but everyone's lazy, bro. Everyone's lazy. I feel like it might have been over, but everyone just got super lazy. It makes sense at the same time because everyone was getting paid for sitting at home, so they're used to that now, bro. They rather that, and then now you see everyone not wanting to work.
Over the years, I'm pretty sure you can agree on this, we have all seen that many people were brought into this country. In your own opinion, do you think that affected the Canadian economy in a good way or a bad way with the amount of people that were brought to this country?
Bad way, honestly. Don't get it twisted. Bringing people is a great thing just because you're helping them out, but at that same time, you gotta think about your country, right? We're here in Canada for a reason. So if you're gonna add something that devalues it or makes it worse, why would you do it in the first place? Honestly, I would say the people coming over here is probably the worst thing Canada had. Even though I immigrated here, but little by little is good, but just not a lot at once. That's all that happened. It was too much at once. Makes sense. Honestly,
Yo, I watch YouTube, bro. Thank you, man. No, appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, for sure. Appreciate it.
Shit, man, I fuck with shit, bro. Hey, man. Thanks, brother.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Bro.
Yeah.
Watch your shit.
With everything you just said, we know the elections are around the corner. Who do you think is the right person to step in office and make a change for this upcoming election in 2025?
Pierre, no hesitation, bro. Honestly, Pierre, bro, like, look at it. It's Pierre with no hesitation. Like, the famous E-Block, like one of your videos, man. Look at it, bro. You look around, it's crazy, right? And then you look at it back then. Hamilton wasn't this bad. Hamilton was always like this, but it wasn't this bad. Now, you can't stop at a red light without knock on your window, you know?
Would you say that Pierre probably also the people?
100%. Love brisket.
Also, beautiful shop, guys, you know. Hey, he's a young guy. This is your shop, right?
Yes. K-Cut Studios, I'm K, the owner. I opened it at 19, I'm 20 now.
Hey, he's doing good. Especially like in this economy we're in.
Right.
Good job, man. I'm proud of you. Seriously. You know? Seriously, good job. Hey, if you're ever in Hamilton, pull up to the shop, if you need a quick cut. I promise you, he has it. Check out the stats. Hey, they'll speak for him. Anything you want to say to close it out?
Honestly, bro, work. You want money? Work hard. Vote Pierre, bro.
Hey, easy, brother. Yeah, appreciate it.
The cost of living is ridiculous, I would say. Yeah, it's like you work so hard and it's like hard to just live, buy groceries, anything like that. Like I'm working full time, but I still struggle to like pay my bills and eat. So that's, yeah, I would say the inflation is, bad.
And
That's it.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how has that affected you as a young Canadian?
10. 10, yeah. Yeah, 10.
If you could change something about this country, what would it be?
Like how much the people are cared about. I feel like the homeless people are looked on such a negative light when it's really just like the people, the higher up people need to like make changes and be better and treat people better. And yeah, we should be able to afford to eat and live and pay our rent. That's for sure. Yeah.
We are blaming so much on the immigrants that like I think racism in Canada has skyrocketed as well. Like I don't think that everything is immigration's fault, but I do think that like the immigration is causing not only financial issues but social issues, because like I have friends who were born in Canada and they're not white, and they are like experiencing racism like never before, because now everyone's like, oh, go back to your own country, and it's like this is their country, like they were literally born here. You know, Brampton is very like known for like having so many brown people, and now it's like all of Canada is being like believed to have too many brown people. And I think that like everyone is like I feel like I can't speak because I'm white, but like I feel like as a brown person, like I don't think that they would like feel safe here because everyone is like mean to them, like, and it's just become so common like for everyone to hate brown people.
You know, in today's society, we see that the average Canadian nowadays can't get a job. And in your own opinion, do you think that these businesses are getting grants or discounts to hire newcomers?
I don't know if they're getting like grants, but I do find that they are like picking people who are not like white. Even like if you go on Indeed, one of the questions that you often see is like, can you speak Mandarin? Can you speak? And it's like, but why do I need to speak Mandarin to work at Tim Hortons? Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know if they're getting like grants, but I know that I feel like they're definitely like hiring by preference.
So my friend, my question for you is, with everything you just said, is there anyone that you're leaning towards a bit or thinking that could make a change and resolve the conflict that we're currently facing in this country for this upcoming election in 2025?
I think not Polyev.
Okay.
I think like I don't know right now where my vote stands, because it's just like there's so much happening. Like yes, we need a change, but also like the change that I think Polyev's gonna get in. I think that's gonna happen, and I don't think it's gonna be like good for us because it's kind of the same as like America, where like everyone's like, oh, we need something different, so they vote for Trump, and now look at all the shit that's happening. I feel like it's the same kind of thing. Like we're like, we need a change, so we vote for someone and he's gonna like fuck us over. So I don't have like I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen with politics. I kind of try not to think about it because it's really stressful.
What's your fear, basically? Like, what will be your biggest fear if Pierre Poilievre does become prime minister and all of that?
Well, I'm queer, and I think that he is opposing a lot of like queer rights and trans rights and education. And I don't know. I'm scared for what the country is gonna become.
Do you think that Pierre Poilievre could be a dictator?
Oh, good question. Maybe. I don't know. Depends on how you define dictator. But if we have a person in office who hates the queer community, who stands for like traditional families, everyone else is gonna do that too. And everyone else is gonna follow that. So sure, like maybe it's still gonna be legal to be gay. It's still gonna be, but like, am I gonna be able to hold my girlfriend's hand walking down the street and not be like stared at? Because I still get stared at. So like, are people gonna be throwing hate slurs at me? Like, do you know what I mean?
What's a message you have for the people out there who are thinking about voting for Pierre Poilievre, basically? You know, what's a message you got for them?
I mean, do what you have to do, but maybe educate yourself a little, because we don't always get like all of the promises that we think we're gonna get. And yes, we need a change, but is this the change that we want? I don't know.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the video. If you made it this far, shout out to you. Thank you. It is way too cold outside. I can't do these interviews outside. It's way too cold. Okay. You know, and I don't want to kill my boy. After all, this is the man that is holding the camera. And for those that have seen me in public when I'm actually recording, etc., you guys have seen how fat my camera is. I have a big ass camera. The fact that he's dedicated, he's holding the camera in this cold, you know, shout out to him. He's putting the work. Sir. I'm not even the one putting the work in. He is. You know, shout out to my boy Wayne. But yeah, just like I said.
Freezing. God damn, I'm freezing.
I'm freezing. Right?
Yeah, it's cold out here.
Cool. But hey, we're Canadians and we can handle this. Tu comprends? On est des Canadiens. Tu comprends? Ça, c'est rien. This is nothing.
Oui.
Quand on va au Québec, when we do go to Quebec, it's gonna be worse.
Bro, we have to go there summer then. Like,
summer, we gotta go to Quebec in summer, you know? Like, yo, all my Québécois watching this video, on arrive bientôt, tu comprends? On arrive, mes amis. I'm ready, Quebec. You guys not ready for me. You guys are not ready for us, sorry. You guys not ready for us. Okay. Yeah, but anyways, Wayne, what you gotta say to the people watching, you know?
Like and subscribe.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching.
And there's one thing I have to say. Keep your stick on the ice.
Voilà, mon ami, t'as bien dit ça, hein? C'est tout?